Hello, I want to welcome you to another teaching about the pillars of wisdom that are found in the book of James, chapter 3. Now, in the Old Testament, he gives us those specific words in the book of Proverbs. The writer of the Proverbs, in chapter 9, in verse number 1, it says, "Wisdom has built her house, she has set up 7 pillars." So he lets us know that wisdom, as she has built her house, there are 7 pillars. In the New Testament, it actually lets us know what these 7 pillars are, and that's in James 3:17. It says that the wisdom that is from above is first pure, that's the first pillar. Then it's peaceable, that would be the second pillar. And then it's gentle, that's the third one. You can read the rest of these, and I'll cover these in the coming lessons, that you'll get to the 7th one, which is without hypocrisy. So today I want to talk about the third one, which is gentle. In the NIV version, it uses a different word. It uses the word considerate. You know, we might use that with our children. You need to be considerate of other people's feelings. So the word gentle in the Greek is this word epiakos, and it means to be, it's a sweet reasonableness. It means to be fair. It's somebody that looks at all the facts. It's not, you're not going in and looking at the letter of the law. You're listening to it all. You're hearing all the testimony of it. You're hearing all the facts, and then you're gonna be fair. You're gonna make the most fair decision that you can make. It means mild. It means forbearing. And again, not insisting on the letter of the law. It expresses a gentleness that is considerate. That's why the NIV uses that word. But it expresses gentleness that is considerate. So that's heavenly wisdom. So I don't know about you. Have you ever prayed for wisdom? I think we all have. If you're watching this, and if you haven't, you need to, or you will. But we've all prayed for wisdom. And most of the time, I think when I think of wisdom, I think I need wisdom for a situation. Like I need wisdom on making a decision, or wisdom for my future. Or oftentimes I think we associate it with decisions we need to make, like a major decision. Should I leave this job for another job? Should I move away? Even like in raising your children, I need wisdom on how to raise a daughter or how to raise a son, and maybe they're going through some hardships. Or somebody comes to you for advice, you say, "Lord, I need wisdom on the words to speak." Well, this gives us another, it's like a diamond. It's a facet of the diamond. That's what wisdom is. There's these 7 facets. And one of the facets, or pillars, as described in the Old Testament, of wisdom is that it is gentle. So this means an application of a sweet and gentle and thoughtful answer that turns away wrath. In other words, how many of our arguments or disagreements that we have could be resolved by a gentle response? That's wisdom. If we would just be gentle in our response. One of the things that you see nowadays is a lot of road rage, right? Or you see somebody that honks and the other person honks, and then they hit their brakes, and then somebody's kind of riding them, and then that person hits their brakes, and then they pass them. And how many things would be avoided, arguments, disagreements, if one of those individuals would choose to be considerate, to be gentle? That's the path of wisdom. Kelly Varner says this. He says, many of life's situations could be solved with the application of sweet reasonableness. And I have to agree with him. Proverbs 15:1 says this, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. I don't know what your home life is like, but it's easy when there's some tension, right? She says this, you say that, or he says this, you say that, and you respond depending on how you were raised or how you've grown up in life, and you think, well, I'm never going to let anybody take advantage of me, or maybe you're the person that has to have the last word. But it's important for us to be gentle. It's a gentle answer that turns away wrath, but also a harsh word is what's going to stir it up. It's going to stir up anger. The Amplified Bible says it of that same verse. It says, "A soft and gentle and thoughtful answer turns away wrath, but harsh and painful and careless words stir up anger." We really need to think about the words that we speak. Kenneth Hagin was really he's a phenomenal teacher, Kenneth Hagin Sr., and a lot of the revelation that God gave him was about faith, was about healing, and also the importance of words and the words that we speak. And I have to agree with much of what he has taught. And it's something that we need to revisit often, is the words that we speak as Christians, as followers of Christ. So when you get born again, your language doesn't change overnight, and it's more than all the swear words and cuss words and bad words. I mean, yeah, you get beyond that. But what I'm talking about is then how do you respond to others, even if you don't use those types of words, but just the harshness or an anger or very strong with your words. And that's a challenge for many of us that we have to overcome. And it just takes it, you take it one day at a time. It's what somebody once asked me a question, how do you eat an elephant? And I said, I don't know. Well, one bite at a time. And that's true. You take your walk with God just this one bite at a time. Every day I'm going to seek God, and I'm going to ask him to teach my words how to speak. And I'm going to choose to use different words and think through my words and how it's affecting people. That's part of growing in wisdom. So it expresses a gentleness that is considerate, that is reasonable, that's fair. In the New Testament, in the book of Philippians, chapter number 4, I'm going to read 2 verses that we don't read, and then we read, the first 3 verses we don't read, and then we do read verse number 4, which is, "Rejoice in the Lord always." And again, I say, rejoice, and let your reasonableness be known to everyone, or your gentleness be known to everyone. The Lord is at hand. And we read those, and about thinking on the things that are pure and lovely and of a good report. Think on those things. But what leads up to those verses, not chapters, the first couple of verses before reading those verses, are 2 individuals, 2 ladies. One is Euodia. It looks like Euodia, but Euodia. So you have her, Euodia, and then you have another lady. Her name is Synthyce. So Synthyce and Euodia. Those are hard words because I don't speak Greek. But this is what's happening to these ladies. They helped Paul we don't know if they helped plant the church. We don't know exactly their role, but they were laboring with him early on. We do know that, and they've been with him. Well, these 2 ladies, they could have been deacons in the church. They were very, very involved in whatever form of involvement, but they were very involved. Well, they had conflict with each other. It's an ongoing conflict. It isn't, I put 4 scoops of sugar in it, you only put 3. It wasn't that kind of disagreement. It was like a major disagreement. What created a rift in their relationship, and Paul is going to come, and he's going to give them these words of wisdom, and the word of wisdom is to be considerate of each other. The ESV says the word to be reasonable with each other, the reasonableness to each other. It's to be fair, to be considerate of each other, to be gentle with one another. So Euodia, her name means a sweet scent. It means a prosperous journey. So that's oftentimes, pretty much every time in the Bible, the name either represents somebody's character or their destiny or both. And so oftentimes you had a name change for that very reason, to express either what God was doing in that person's life or in their destiny, or oftentimes their failure. It's even in their name. And so Euodia, with her, it lets us know that wherever she was around, it was a sweet scent that she would give, maybe like lighting a candle or a beautiful fragrance, a prosperous journey. She had quite a destiny in front of her. Well, Synthyce, her name means one that speaks or discourses. The word discourse is usually an extended expression of thought on a subject. In other words, that's a person who likes to talk and likes to dialogue and likes to use a lot of words. So that probably was the character of Synthyce. Maybe she expresses how she feels in her words. If you look it up in a dictionary, the word discourse, it means to write or speak authoritatively about a subject. It's somebody that's going to speak with authority about, like a passion about whatever subject. For example, somebody could have a discourse of great length on the history of Europe. They know their material, or they've done it, their research, and they're going to talk about it. It's not just like short. It's not something short. It's they're at length. They're going to talk about things. It also can be like a debate or when you're communicating. It's like an example is the language of a political discourse, or two politicians that are having a discourse about a certain subject. Well, they're gonna disagree. They're gonna debate it. They're gonna talk about it. So that's what Synthyce, that's what her name meant, a discourse. So whether that was in her character or not, we don't know. But what we do know is there was tension between these two ladies. So this is what Paul says in Philippians chapter 4 and verse number 1. It says, "Therefore, my brothers, whom I love and I long for, you're my crown." And he says, "My crown and joy. Stand firm thus in the Lord, my beloved." And then verse number 2, this is the language he uses. He says, "I entreat Euodia and I entreat Synthyce to agree in the Lord." Okay, he uses both of them. He's not saying, the word entreat is the word entreat, beseech, beg, urge. But he tells them both that. He doesn't say, Synthyce, you're more spiritual than she is, so I'm begging you, go and try to work this relationship out. Or he's not going to Synthyce and saying, or Euodia, I'm begging you to go and you be the bridge. No, he's telling both of them at the same time. These two followers of Christ, I'm urging you, I'm begging you, I'm beseeching you to both go and work this out. And so he says this, I entreat Synthyce and also to Euodia to agree in the Lord, come to a place of unity. It says to have the same mind, right, in the Lord. Verse number 3, "Yes, I ask you also, true companion, help these women who have labored side by side with me in the gospel, together with Clement and the rest of my fellow workers whose names are in the book of life." He says they're followers of Christ, and he's also going to bring in Clement to come in and help these ladies to come together. Your names are written in the book of life. That's what he's telling them. And then he says, "Rejoice in the Lord always." Again, I will say rejoice. "Let your gentleness be known to everyone. Let your reasonableness be known to others. Let this heavenly wisdom, this sweet, gentle, thoughtful answer, let that be known to one another and to this world. Let a sweet reasonableness, not insisting on the letter of the law." So he's saying, I'm not going to go and say who's right or who was wrong. This isn't about who's right or who's wrong. This is about unity. This is about, okay, sometimes you just agree to disagree. It's just their opinion. It was her opinion, this other lady's opinion. It could have been as simple as that. Life goes on. The most important thing is whenever we ask for wisdom, it's to say, we're going to be in unity. We're going to love one another. And then he says this, the Lord is at hand. Those are powerful words. One translation says the Lord is near. So in other words, he's saying, whether it's the coming of Christ, in a day, or the coming of Christ in a year, live your life knowing that the Lord is coming. I mean, he might not come today, he might not come tomorrow, but live your life as if he is. Or you never know when you're going to die, so you live your life as if, you know what, I'm going to live my life for the Lord now. I'm going to be in relationship now. So let's bring it into, it's easy to talk about Synthyce and Euodia. Let's talk about you, right? Let's talk about me. So it would be as if I'm in odds with my sisters. I have two sisters. I'm not at odds with them. They're not at odds with me. But let's say I was. Well, he's saying, and they're followers of Christ, and so am I. then you know what? Work it out, work through it. Or let's say I have two brothers, okay, which I do. I have two brothers. If I'm at odds with them, he's saying, work those things out, live in unity. You're followers of Christ. Your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life. So when you're asking for wisdom, then God says, I'm going to give you wisdom. And wisdom is also going to come in the form of gentleness, because that is a pillar of wisdom. That's an expression of the nature of God. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. The next one we will cover will be number 4, which is wisdom is easy to be entreated, which the NIV says that it is submissive. So we are going to talk about that the next time we come together. God bless you.